Hello again, I am Blunty. A couple of years ago, I reviewed a little thermal printer called the MemoBird. It was pretty fun and mildly practical for printing up things like to-do lists or shopping lists or any other kinds of reminders and notes that didn't necessarily have to last or be very robust as a printout. It could also print images, but its relatively low resolution and not entirely clean print made that a novel but not entirely impressive feature. But meet the Paperang P2S, a similarly small thermal printer, noticeably smaller in fact, which is nice, but also has a downside, and I'll get to that in a moment. Just as a quickie for those unfamiliar with this technology, thermal printers, which have been around for many decades now, don't use any ink at all. There's no ink cartridges, no cartridges of any kind, nothing to change or replenish. These things can't run out or run dry halfway through a print, and so long as you've got paper, you have the ability to print, because the print is made by using specially treated paper stock where a chemical reaction makes it turn black when and where heat is applied. Now, the main standout of this product over all the other similar tiny thermal printer products made not for retail and industrial use, as is common, but for personal use, is this one has a significantly higher resolution. 300 dpi versus the more common 150 or even 200-ish, and this combined with what was obviously, upon my very first test print, a significantly better engineered or at least better implemented print head. And all that adds up to the prints from this being immediately recognizable as superior in every way to everything I've tried before in this category. It's marketed as the world's first all-in-one phone printer, which is an absolute sodding lie. And a lie so easily disproven I can't fathom who decided to market it this way or how they thought they weren't going to be called out for their horse poop, but whatever. It is entirely self-contained in a nicely, if not quite pocketable, but purse-friendly or baggable size. It easily opens up with a pleasantly latching hinged design for simple paper roll replacement, and the app works quickly and smoothly. And it connects to the app basically instantly upon power up, making everything really easy. And it does so automatically after the initial setup, which is as simple as using the app to scan a QR code you print with a double tap of the button on the device. It has a built-in battery recharged over USB, and they list the running time not in minutes or pages, but on length, as the paper comes on rolls, of course. So they say it has a printing ability of 196 feet of paper with one charge. And for those of you on the entire rest of the face of the planet who live in a civilized part of the world where we use the proper sensible metric system, that's just shy of 60 meters. So that's pretty significant, actually. Operation is entirely over Bluetooth and a partner application available on Android and iOS. But aside from delivering a much better print quality than I've seen before on a thermal printer, there's another difference. The Paperang people sell 7 different types of thermal paper rolls to print on, while other similar products just use the standard receipt paper you can get easily and cheaply at any office supply store. The drawback of standard receipt paper is it's not designed to last very long. It usually doesn't need to. They fade over time pretty quickly, and within a year or so are usually very faint or just blank. Paperang sell a roll with a claimed 10-year print retention. That's pretty impressive for thermal paper, but they also sell yellow and pink and blue coloured paper. The print is still black, of course. And most interestingly for fun times, they have sticker paper as well, in white, pink and grey. Unfortunately, when they sent me this printer to test, they did not include any alternative paper stock at all, so I can't test them or tell you about them, I can't even show them to you. I'd be rather interested in testing out the sticker roll though. That sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? But that brings us to the issue of size. The kind of receipt paper rolls I usually find at office supply stores are for, well, they're for retail use, so they're very, very long, so the register monkeys don't have to change them out quite as often. Shorter, smaller rolls are sold and are standardized, but they seem, at least where I've found this kind of paper, far less common because, the bigger ones are more convenient for use in retail. Obviously, these big rolls won't fit in the Paperang device. However, I was able to easily use the paper by just manually rolling off a decent length of it using my patent-pending Donald Trump weather map enhancement tool. Sorry. I ad-libbed that and just made myself crack up. And it did print just fine on this standard cheapy paper. A slightly lesser quality print in this case, but not so much that it matters a huge deal when you're talking about the kind of stuff you were printing with this anyway. And Paperang's own bespoke paper rolls aren't outrageously priced or anything either, so it's not like they're just gouging you with some kind of needlessly proprietary paper format to suck more money out of you or something equally as cynical. It seems more like they just wanted to keep the size down for convenience, so they went with a smaller roll, and they wanted to sell the users decent paper stock and in more fun options than the standard receipt paper comes in for a better end-user experience. So I'm pretty okay with that. And they do very clearly and openly state that any normal third-party printer papers of the correct and common standardized size are compatible with the P2S. So it all seems pretty above board. Could have easily gone the other way in this day and age, couldn't it? They also say their papers are eco-friendly, water-resistant, tear-resistant, and smudge-proof. Now, all thermal paper is water-resistant and smudge-proof because they don't actually use any ink, so there is nothing to smudge. That's just not how it works. Hi, this is middle of the edit Blunty. Turns out Paperanx paper is slightly more water-resistant than regular paper. I didn't notice that until I filmed this B-roll to, show off the test with my cheeky little anime girl in a towel thing, but it did resist the water better, not in any significant way until I started trying to smudge it after I'd submerged it completely. Then the regular paper kind of fell apart rather quickly. Paperanx paper stayed intact, so I'm not sure how much of practical implication that is, but they can stand by their claim that their paper is more water resistant because it absolutely is. Who'd have thunk? But as for tear resistant, well, no. But their paper is noticeably heavier stock than a normal receipt paper is, so I'll give them that. It's more tear resistant than regular thermal paper usually is, but it's still pretty easy to tear. I mean, it's paper, so duh. The app has several modes, including basic text, note, and list creation, including the ability to make little checklist things and add little images and whatnot. You can print images and photos direct from your photo roll on your phone. You can print banners and web pages. Annoyingly, some features, like the website printing, require a login to Paperanx's own account system. I don't know why, and I don't care to use or create one, so I didn't. But most everything else can be done without that anyway. There's also some kind of social network feature built into the app to share images, which is just why? What's the point of this? I don't get it. I don't know why it's there, but whatever. You can ignore it. But finally, and most importantly, the prints themselves are actually pretty impressive for a thermal printer. As you've been seeing throughout this, it prints pretty quickly and it prints pretty silently. And even printing text as tiny as the app will permit still leaves an entirely readable result, at least with my glasses on. The photos and image prints come out surprisingly cleanly and well detailed too. Large areas of black, which the previous thermal printers I've tried never do well, leaving it patchy and inconsistent, here are handled perfectly. Sharp, crisp, and solid. Lovely. And tonal ranges, while not superb, that's just a limitation of the technology, are certainly much better than I'd expected. Now, obviously you're not going to be printing archival keepsakes with this thing, but for casual and fun use, these are fantastic. Pop them in a notebook, use them for sketchbook references or scrapbooking type stuff, pop snapshots of you and your friends' adventures up on a corkboard alongside movie ticket stubs and the like. You guys do that? I never have, but seriously, at least half the girls I've ever dated loved doing that stuff. They all had little pegboards in their bedrooms. And of course, being battery powered and entirely portable, you can take this with you to get-togethers and parties and the like, so you can quickly print out group selfies and stuff. Fun-time, socially shareable little physical prints are always joyously received. And in more practical uses, of course, notes, and recipes, and lists, shopping lists, to-do lists, reminders, maps, directions, all kinds of useful stuff to have on a small, easily disposable printout, either for yourself or to easily hand off to someone else. And to cap it all off, it is just $60 USD, at least right now at the discounted price on their Indiegogo campaign. Now, I usually have a pretty solid rule about reviewing products still actively collecting on crowdfunding sites like this. We've all heard the horror stories about huge delays or failure to deliver the final product or last-minute changes and all that kind of stuff, which is usually why I avoid recommending products still actively crowdfunding. But there's already been 2 earlier models of this printer from these people. Both made it to retail market perfectly fine, and as you can see, this product they've sent to me is finished, working, and ready. So I'm allowing it past my usual rules. Frankly, not entirely sure why they even need an Indiegogo at this point. Obviously, they're successful. Obviously, they've got the manufacturing down. Obviously, they know where, how, and who to get them to make this thing for them. Let's be honest, they're just using it as a pre-order thing, which is They currently estimate shipping in October, so next month at the time of publication of this video, and yeah, seems pretty safe to recommend from my point of view. So what do you guys reckon? I actually kind of adore it a little bit. It's like a modern day version of one of my favorite old video game accessories, the Game Boy printer. It too was a thermal printer, of course. Thank you very much for watching. I am Blunty. Would you do me a favor if you haven't already? Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, hit the thumb up button, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff that helps with the YouTube algorithms. Of course, the robots hate me. Did I tell you I'm Blunty again yet? I am. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.